Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tackling Sport podcast. And it's Daniel here on my own today as we start our series and continue our series off after our pilot episode with Luke O'Connor and the Celtic fan of what we're calling at the moment fan stories. Now that name could change. If anyone's got good suggestions, let me know. But yeah, I said we'd start off with our first guest being a guest who came on during our Euro 2020 predictions is Manchester United fan Tim Stokes to tell us about his journey, I suppose, as a fan all the way from the start to right now. So, Tim, welcome back to the podcast. How are you?
How's it going? How's my impression of Sean there?
You suit it very well.
Sure, look, when you're listening as much as I am, 120 episodes later or whatever, you kind of get the gist of it. Delighted to be on talking about my favorite subject at the moment. So, yeah. Like I was telling you off air, told the boss I had a very important call scheduled for 11. So, here we are. Wasn't lying.
And yes, so tell us a little bit about, I suppose, Manchester United at the moment. Obviously, with the Euros, it's kind of hard to get the headset back into United. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer so far, have you always been a fan of his since he came in, or were you kind of a bit Ole out, or what was the crack?
No, to be honest, I am Ole out still. I've never been Ole in. Going off his few things, like his style of football has never impressed me. Having grown up with the Ferguson era and playing lovely attacking football, obviously getting the results, developing through the academy, it's been, that's kind of what I've been used to. Maybe I was spoiled too early, but yeah, just like in fairness to Ole, he has done well. He's turned the ship around from Van Gaal, Mourinho, Moyes. But I'm still not convinced on him. It's his negative style of play, especially playing at home. And I think that's why United's away results have been so good, because they have a license nearly to sit back. They've got quick players up front like Rashford, Martial, that'll hit you on the counter-attack. But that's why it's so negative to watch at home. Found myself getting quite bored watching the home matches this year. Like, you've got four at the back, McTominay and Fred don't need to be playing, the two of them, kind of like the England statue role, where they're sitting there, lack of creativity, and that's why you're relying on a moment of magic from Fernandes or a penalty or OG corner. Like, if you actually look at it, like, there was obviously, you get a couple of freak results kind of skew it, but yeah, it's not been that convincing. And he's done a great job bringing through academy graduates, which is a United philosophy. But overall, I think there's better out there. And I think the acid test is, if Solskjaer became available on the market tomorrow morning, what big clubs are going to snap him up? City? No. Chelsea? Liverpool? So even across the board, PSG wouldn't look at him. Madrid? Atletico? So why is he the Manchester United manager? I know he's a club legend and, he's done great things, but in terms of his style of play going forward, I wouldn't be in favour of Solskjaer, no. Takes a lot to say that.
Yeah, it's especially now, because I'd say a few months ago, you might have had a 50-50. Anyway, I think there's always been a group that have supported him. I suppose the first question I asked, really, what is the alternative to him? I know there's been Pochettino and stuff, but I guess right now you're probably looking at a lack of candidates, maybe?
Yeah, right now there's a lack of candidates, but I was really calling for it in January. And like, Ole is the cat with 9 lives, really. Like, whenever he seems to, be one game away. I remember that Everton game in January. They were 1-0 down at half time. And, a lot of United fans singing Pochettino's name. I thought that was the chance. And unfortunately, it kind of has passed. So at the moment, look, he's getting support. But you have to remember, he's been in the job since December 2018. Gotten a lot more time than the others. Hasn't won a trophy. It's been unlucky, but it's not been convincing. And in terms of the style of play as well, I am bought in on it. And he's about 4. If he loses the first 4 games, or if a couple of draws, I could see the crowd, like with the crowds coming back into Old Trafford next season. The fans aren't going to put up with that much longer. That style of play, particularly at home. If you're paying 80 quid a ticket, giving up your Saturday to come in and watch Fred and McTominay with the back 4 scraping past, West Ham 1-0 on a penalty. It's not gonna last. My opinion.
Yes, Sean made a point. You mentioned the statues for England, and Sean made a point the last podcast. He said, England play 2 statues in midfield, United play 2 statues in midfield, and the common denominator is Harry Maguire and his lack of pace. Is that a good enough reason for Ollie to play those 2 centre mids, or do you think that there's still no excuse for playing, like you said, two of those statues at home to Crystal Palace, for example?
Yeah, exactly. So I find Maguire, he had a great Euros in my opinion. If there's a lot of talk with Varane coming in this summer, he'd be perfect. He has the pace there, kind of freeze that up there. But yeah, it's a lot of it is Lindelof, and Eric Bailly can't stay fit for more than 2 games. So he's not someone you can rely on. Had a look at Eric Bailly. He's been at the club since summer 2016. At what point are you going to make a call on the guy? You know what I mean? It's going on too long. There's too many seasons go by where it just wasn't happening this year. And same with Martial. But to get back to the defensive, still not an excuse. You're playing Crystal Palace. You look at it, you go man for man, how many on the Crystal Palace team would be starting for Man United? And the answer is 0. So you're actually playing into their hands, as was found out last year in that game. Palace won 4-2 because they parked the bus, we parked the bus. They hit us on the counter-attack, and that's why our home form hasn't been great. Yeah, so in terms of Maguire, obviously he's not the paciest, but there's no excuse because Palace usually play 1 big lad up front away from home. So why do you need 4 at the back with 2 in front, marking 1 striker? The Fergie model of attack is the best form of defence is the way. And I think we saw that with England in the Euros. They went 1-0 up early, and they sat back, retreated, hang on to what we have. And ultimately, that was their downfall, because if they went for the throat there, got 2 before half time or whatever, it really was coming home. So,
yeah. And is the style of play, is that something that other United fans have concerns about? Or is it are you in the minority here in terms of being worried about the style of play and Ole Gunnar? Because it seems just from the outside looking in that he has the support of the fans this summer in the transfer window, and particularly with the Super League and a few other bits and bobs. The anger's definitely directed at the board a lot more, whether that's right or wrong.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things there, Dan. I think the results kind of nearly mask the other, the performance. So, a lot of fans will just look at, did we win, or are we in top 4 or whatever. But if you look at the style of play, is something that as a United fan growing up would have been what attracted me to like Man United. It was the 2 wingers. Now I know the system's kind of gone of the 4-4-2 days, but Liverpool are a good watch. They play attacking football. They press. They attack. They bring the fullbacks in. They're actually not a bad watch at all. City aren't a bad watch. But yeah, United, I think the fans, there's a lot of obviously anger towards the Glazers, but you need to look past that a bit more, in my opinion. Taking aside the fact that he's a club legend and people hold him in a great light, as they should. On a managerial front, I'm not convinced, and I think COVID, with no fans being in the stadium, he got away with a lot of that, because I think you're obviously an Arsenal fan. Arteta's been critiqued with his style of play. If you're 60,000 in the Emirates and it's 0-0 at home to Palace, you can hear attack coming in from the home end. So I wouldn't give him long before people start getting on his back. Obviously, he's had the backing now in the window by the looks of things. So if you're bringing in these quality players in attack like Sancho, obviously Cavani's there, and what we have is good, but you're not utilising them. Like Martial, for example, has basically been a left wing back all but in a lot of games, especially in Europe. He's just tracking the right back and not playing on the front foot. So I don't think a full Old Trafford is going to be backing that for much longer.
Yeah, and like you said, it'd be very interesting when the fans do come back, because I agree with you. Arteta was probably in massive trouble in December. Like, you don't lose at home to Burnley. without consequences, really, in this in this day and age. And
yeah, exactly.
with the fans there and the full fans, I'm just trying to picture Old Trafford at the moment. But like, I would say that you did finish the season very strong, and I guess if you had won the Europa League, was that a big moment for you, losing that Europa League final? Because to me, again, looking on the outside, I was like, look, it's the Europa League, and I know big trophies are important, but Jurgen Klopp lost his Europa League final.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say, or a bit harsh on Ollie to criticise him for that? Or
yeah, well, I would argue I don't think the Europa League was that big of a missed opportunity. Like, if you're looking at it from a Manchester United perspective, where you're the biggest club in the world supposedly, etc. You shouldn't be in the Europa League. That it's like going into the B competition. When you factor in the funding and the support and the size of the club, might come across a little bit biased, but no, I wouldn't. My argument would be great to win a trophy, but shouldn't be in the Europa League in the first place. So it wasn't. It would have masked it again, in my opinion.
Yeah, we comment here from Matt saying Liverpool and Chelsea will be back competing next season, but last season was as good as it gets for Ollie and still 1-0. Is there any last question on Ollie? Is there anything he can do next season that will, like, apart from winning matches, that will make you kind of convinced? Is it something you might say in a press conference? Is it some sort of change or tweak in style of play that might convince you, or are you 100% Ollie out and you're not for changing basically if he does start the season well?
Yeah, I mean, like, if the players that we're linked with come in and he starts utilizing the attacking options that we have, and we play teams on the front foot, and the results are following suit, then absolutely, I will be take my hat off and say well done, whatever. And I'm sure the majority of the fans would be the same. But another season like that, there's no way. Like, he'll be 4 years in the job in December. Like, at what point do you call it? He's had chances, he's had opportunities, and I'm just not seeing what I want to see from him. But look, he has done a good job in the sense of turning the ship. But is he the man to lead the charge? And like I say, if he became available in the morning, what top clubs are going to come in and say, I want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, no matter what the price is? So comparing him with Klopp and Guardiola, he's well below that.
And then maybe, so looking at some of the transfer moves that you mentioned, Varane, like Sancho's coming in. I always hark back to Paul Pogba and his performances in Euro 2020, and there's definitely, I don't know, maybe there's a renewed. Paul Pogba reminds me small bit of Rory McIlroy sometimes, in the sense that he's doing it now, he's birdied here now. Watch this, he'll come in, and he just kind of backs off for whatever reason. Are you excited about those summer signings? Like, you seem to be. Like, how could you not be? Like Sancho and Varane potentially as well as other signings.
No, it'd be great. I mean, definitely the centre half is an area that really needs to be sharpened up. Victor Lindelof, again, he's there since 2017. He's had 4 seasons, and he's proved physically. Don't think he's a good tackler. His timing's good, but at the highest level, he's not the answer. Hence why, again, if you put him on the market tomorrow, are the top teams at the competition, are they coming in to sign him?
No,
absolutely not. So yeah, Varane would be a very welcomed addition. I think Sancho can come in. I would have Martial straight out of the team. I'd be looking to shift him, to be honest, because again, he's there since 2015, and he's now going to be 26 in December. Again, what point do you make a call on a player, because you can't keep using the young lads settling in? 26.
What point do you make the call he won't win that Ballon d'Or that's in his bonuses?
Put it this way, if it was sitting down to Paddy Power, I'm sure he'd be offering very, very generous odds on that. So it's not going to happen, is it?
No, it's not.
On the Pogba note, he's proved again he can do it. He can do it, and maybe his attitude stinks. There's no question about that. Just to put it bluntly, but is that a decision? Nice guy Ollie, like, he's 28, he's not getting the best out of him, be it Ollie, be it Pogba. So you have to make the kind of grow up here and say, right, you're dropped, you're not in my plans, or you're in, and you manage him. So they're tough decisions, but they're ones that have to be made, because again, you can't have the Pogba where he's, champagne on ice for 6 games, and then, getting subbed off against Burnley. So it's decisions, and maybe nice guy Ollie isn't. He's a lovely guy. He's a legend, but is he decisive enough? I don't know.
When Alex Ferguson left in 2013, could you have imagined what had the fallout for the next 8 years?
No. No.
I'm getting a bit upset now listening to you. Jesus.
I know. You can obviously tell the kind of frustration is there because, like you say, I was 18 then and used to seeing, Champions League winning sides, Champions League finalists, Premier League, 13 titles, playing the United way, as they say, and to what it's become now. Although Ollie's turned the ship, I never would have foreseen what's happened. And in fairness to Liverpool, they've stepped up. Oilchester City have really stepped up on their world-class team. Obviously, best of everything. I'll leave that for another day, but they've come in obviously and dominated a lot. Chelsea have been very efficient. They've come in, they've won decisive titles, and obviously won the Champions League there. Just looking around at the main competition, bar Arsenal, maybe it's been very successful 8 years for the other sides, not United, and haven't even come in anywhere near a league title or any sort of a real challenge So yeah, I never would have seen this happening.
And what could have been done differently after Alex Ferguson's departure? Because the Glazers have been there since 2005.
05,
so that would have been in the height of the Ferguson era, and he was obviously infamous for talking down the fans at the time for the protests and stuff like that. So what went wrong from when he left? Was it straight away with the succession plan and David Moyes? And should Alex Ferguson have taken a complete step back, or should they have involved him even more? So I know he's heavily involved with United at the moment.
Yeah, so that's a good point there, Dan. And I think, look, obviously Alex Ferguson, my opinion, the greatest manager ever. But you have to make a decision. Like, this is again nice guy Solskjaer, perhaps. He has to say, look, what are you doing still around the place? Because in fairness, things are never going to move on. If you, it's like having your ex-girlfriend hanging around the place and bumping into her every odd night out. You're never going to move on if you're still reminded of the glory days past. Well, maybe not in my case, but you have to make the decision, and it's difficult because when you're Solskjaer, you're under a lot of pressure. You're 0-0 at home to Palace, and the big screen shows Ferguson sitting in the box with Charlton or something, and then I wouldn't be having that. I'd say, look, stop coming to the games. Let me do my team. Stop being involved. You had your glory days, best manager ever, but I need you to step aside here. And I'd also say, in terms of the succession plan, obviously Fergie has a lot of input and would have at the time, but I just don't think that it's, he could have, again, that decision should be taken out of his hands and should be left to the board to make the decisions, it's going with your heart over your head, in my opinion. So,
and it's amazing. Well, like you say, Ollie should be not having Ferguson involved, and if anything, he's the complete opposite, isn't he? And he just involves them. I remember the day you beat City. It could have been a couple of years ago now at this stage, and he's cheering up to Alex Ferguson. So I don't think he's ever got out of that shadow. I think he kind of involves them more for whatever reason, and I think it works with a lot of fans that Ollie sees Ferguson's disciple or whatever. But
I know.
You said, long term, it's not
having a big brother. You're never gonna fly the nest if you keep looking up to your big brother like that. And I think you don't see the great Liverpool legends hanging around all the time, albeit they haven't had success in a long time, which I like to rub in. But you don't see them hanging around. It's just Fergie, and look, can't take away anything he did for the club. Unbelievable, but you can't move on when he's still at all the home games and still heavily involved in the back. It shouldn't be the case. And
then you mentioned the board there. What Ed Woodward? What more could he have done? Because I know he hasn't done a good job. Talking to a lot of United fans, but looking at Cole Hardley, you spent so much money
Yeah.
in he could point to, we spent this amount of money, we bought every player managers have asked, bar that infamous centre back that he didn't buy for Jose that ultimately cost Jose the Premier League or whatever. But what more could have Ed Woodward have done for United that has stopped the success that has happened since then? Or is there anything he could have done?
Yeah, so obviously Woodward has a lot of downfalls there, and he wouldn't be a popular opinion, and he is stepping away now. But I mean, it's the signings again. Like I touched on earlier, Lindelof, 2017, Eric Bailly, 2016. Then you had your Darmians, Rojos, even Fred. You had Martial, hasn't been great. It's just a consistent Alexis Sanchez. Absolutely, Mkhitaryan. Yeah, exactly. So like the list goes on there. It's just been the wrong signings, aging players, the likes of Alexis Sanchez not fitting where the club needs to go forward, paying way too much money, being mocked out of the market, 80 million for Maguire, getting the bargaining power taken out of their hands. So if you look on the contrary there, I know City have spent very well. Liverpool have spent extremely well. It's just making the right decisions at the right time, and shifting the deadwood. Like Phil Jones is still getting paid. Sergio Romero only left last week. Yeah.
I suppose Harry Maguire there, before we go to happier memories, is he 80 million? Do you look back at that signing now and are you happy you have him? I know he had a great Euros, or do you still look at it going, Liverpool got Van Dijk for 25, or is that fair?
Yeah, well, look, obviously market inflation has picked up a lot in recent years, and we've seen that with massive money signings like Neymar and the likes, and Mbappe. So I think, look, it's harsh because that's the cost of a good centre half. But again, when you look at Van Dijk, I think the fact, obviously, Maguire being English, Premier League proven, was a massive thing going for him. He was young enough. I think he's a good centre half, but he needs to be beside a very good centre half to get the best out of him. When you have him beside Lindelof, who also has no pace really and is weak physically, it's not a good combination. You saw when Eric Bailly came in, when he had his 6 games a year, Maguire stepped up and played a lot better because complemented him better. So.
Bailly on paper should be the perfect partner for Maguire. Like I was at Munich on interraining. We went to watch Bayern Munich United in a preseason friendly, and Eric Bailly, they only just signed for you, so it would have been that 16, 17 or whatever. I remember thinking this guy is unbelievable. This is great man. And did nothing since, just based on injuries and all that. Yeah,
like he's got, like, physically he's 6'3", he's great shape, very quick, very athletic, reads the game well, he's brave. But that's no good to you when you're, sitting on the bench injured. So he just, and he can be very rash as well. Like he goes flying in. He has that wild streak in him, like where lunge in and give away a penalty. He has that kind of, Roy Keane kind of side to him where he's liable for anything. So it's not easy watching at times, but yeah, you have to make a call. Like, if you were employing someone since 2016 and they worked 6 weeks a year, they were great in paper and did the odd, good job, but you can't be having that around the place.
Yeah. No, I agree wholeheartedly. Going back to glory days, what was it like supporting Manchester United growing up in school?
Very enjoyable.
I'd say it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was. So, like, it would have been the initial team. I'm not claiming to be around have much memories of the 99 team, but kind of beyond that, you say the early days, Keane, Scholes, Giggs, Beckham, Andy Cole, Teddy Sheringham, Van Nistelrooy, Neville, maybe the end of Irwin, the Neville brothers, Rio Ferdinand coming in. It was, brilliant. Maybe Bart Hez wasn't brilliant, but look, it was great. There was plenty of homegrown players could identify with, good, hard-working lads, brilliant footballers, playing the right way, getting the results, and it was great. Probably set me up for failure later, supporting them so early, but it was a great time, I have to say. Very, very fond memories.
Yeah, you mentioned some of those players. I'm kind of thinking of the early 2000 years, so 2000.
Yeah, this would have been maybe 01, 00, that kind of time. Yeah.
So from memory, Yeah, so Arsenal won in 98, and then you won in
Arsenal won
99.
98.
You won 99, 2000, and 2001.
2001.
We won the double 2002, and then you won in 2003. And
Yeah.
that era was the
Yeah.
first, I suppose, your first memory. I think you had 2 successful periods, and that was your first period of success before Jose came in.
Yeah, so that was pre-Abramovich, and that was before David Beckham left. He left after the 03 season, and Nicky Butt as well. So, yeah, look, that was great. Playing very, great football, great results, and obviously, maybe could have won a couple of other Champions Leagues. Went very close against Leverkusen in 01. That was before the Guardiola kind of side came in, so there was no real dominant force in Europe at that stage. And you had Porto and Monaco in the finals. Like, there was another Champions League there for us, but that was a good era. All right, yeah.
So then Chelsea 104, 05.
05, 06.
Sorry, they won 04 and then 05 and 05, 06. And then you lads
Arsenal had the Invincibles. Arsenal had the Invincibles.
Sorry, Arsenal won. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Arsenal 104, Chelsea 105 and 06, and then United had gone 3 years without a title.
Yeah,
and then I think was probably Ferguson's best team.
That was my favorite ever season. Yeah,
06, 07.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you had Ronaldo coming through. You had, it was a perfect team. You had a good balance. You had still lads like John O'Shea, Wes Brown, knocking around, and I think Mikel Sylvester was on his last legs at that stage. So you still had a lovely blend
before you joined Arsenal now.
I know, yeah, the retirement home. So you had obviously the emergence then of Evra and Vidic, who initially looked like they weren't going to do much. And they came in January 06 and didn't hit the ground running, but really picked it up at the end. So you had a lovely blend of experience with Gary Neville and Giggs, kind of finishing down. Michael Carrick was amazing that season, got him in from Tottenham. And then Van der Sar was a great signing as well, because he filled the void of the Schmeichel, post-Schmeichel era, where we couldn't get it right with Bosnich, Barthez, a few of them, Roy Carroll, Tim Howards. So he was immense. And then Ronaldo really stepped up that year. Got a last-minute winner against Fulham at Craven Cottage. That was a turning point in the season there. So yeah, that was my favorite year. And also Louis Saha came in as well that January. So yeah, it was a brilliant squad, and Rooney obviously as well.
Yeah, there's some serious players, and then you went the following season and won the double. Well, I call it the proper double, like the Champions League, the only double that exists now. Yeah.
Sure. Look, if you talk to a Liverpool fan, they won the treble in 01. So not having that, but now that was probably the peak. I think the 07, 08, because you had it was Carlos Tevez come in that year, and he was great. He had a great couple of years. You had Carrick, it was there a while, Scholes, Giggs, and then Ferdinand and Vidic was properly settled in. Raphael even had a decent season. So that was peak United time. So it was, the very successful period there, winning the Champions League on penalties as well. So yeah, it was brilliant blend of experience and youth as well.
Yeah, that final was in Moscow. I remember because you beat us in the semi-final, second leg, and I remember being so confident that Arsenal would beat you, because I think it was only 1-0 from Old Trafford, so it was game on. Yeah, like you said, Ronaldo gets that free kick, and
Almunia had a blunder, but the most underrated player that season was Park Ji-sung. He was phenomenal. He covered every blade, and similar to kind of a Kante, except just a bit wider, but his link up and his unseen work was phenomenal. And without him, I don't think he led the way for Rooney and Ronaldo to shine that year.
Yeah, it was incredible. What were your memories of the final, watching it? Because it was a bit Moscow. You obviously heard a lot of stories about '99, but this was your first proper.
That was the first proper one. Yeah, very nerve-wracking, all right. Memories, I remember looking at Chelsea had a decent team at the time. They were very strong. It was in Moscow, where Abramovich obviously is from. He was there, so they were very strong in all departments. And I remember, obviously United taking the lead, Ronaldo header, Lampard pulls it back. Then when it goes to penalties, obviously you've got the John Terry. It's kind of written in the stars, isn't it? Club captain, club legend in Moscow. And obviously, what wasn't to be, but what a night though. I remember a few ropey penalties like Ronaldo missed, Anderson just scored, Tevez just scored, and then obviously Anelka, being the decisive miss. But yeah, it was great. Little did I know it'd be the last one now, but yeah.
Yeah, well, we might get to that in a second in terms of the underachievement, but then you went on to win the league the following year and then was in a Barcelona in Rome.
Yeah,
each year. And I remember Rio Ferdinand getting caught with Messi's header to make it 2-0, I think.
Yeah, so Ferdinand came on, he's spoken since, about that, and it's just saying Messi was just phenomenal. That was probably peak Messi time, 09 to 2011 maybe. He just said Messi was so small that he just kept popping up everywhere. You couldn't get a hold on him. Ferdinand actually said he preferred playing the taller, bigger striker because he knew where he was. Whereas Messi, because they were playing kind of false nines, David Villa would drop in, Pedro, so it was a very it was a tactical masterclass from Guardiola that night. And yeah, if you're a centre half, Ferdinand would say him and Vidic were standing there. There's no one to mark. And then all of a sudden you've got someone in and out. It's, I can imagine it being a nightmare.
And then Ronaldo obviously left. That's the end of that season, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And unfortunately, and that kind of cemented that, even though United had all that success and manager and everything, that they ultimately are selling club. When you see your best player, he's 24, playing out of his skin, Ballon d'Or winner, and ultimately he has to be sold. And I know he wanted to go, I know that, but at the end of the day, that was nearly the start of, we want to cash in. 80 million was big money then, but that was the first kind of signs that, okay, why is our best player being sold at just after all of this? So that was
You're bringing back memories of me when Henry got sold and Vieira got sold, and I'm like, why is this happening? Yeah,
exactly. This isn't the sign of a club that's going to push forward and challenge again. Just sold their best player to be replaced by none other than Gabriel Oberton, Michael Owen, and you remember Darren Gibson came into the team as well.
Darren Gibson, Jesus. Yeah. 2010, that was Carlo Ancelotti's team. Then won the Premier League, Chelsea.
Yeah, one difference that year.
Yeah, so Jesus, you could have won 4 in a row that year. Jesus, as an Arsenal fan, that doesn't register. I don't appreciate how close you were.
I know, and it actually that was pre-VAR days. So Chelsea beat United 2-1 at Old Trafford in April that year, and Drogba was clearly offside. So it's mad how to think that VAR, when you know what you know now, that goal doesn't get given. But look, I've moved on since.
You're over it, which is good, which is great.
11 years later, yeah.
And then you win. Jesus, I'm sorry, I got the list just to be 100% sure. I didn't realize how, on another couple of decisions go your way, you could have won the league.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 7 years in a row between 07 and 13, if, the City... Aguero.
Yeah, we moved swiftly past that one, the 13th of May 2012, but it looks like that'll be being covered. Yeah.
Were you in the carpet that well, we were anyway and watching?
I wasn't. No, I was watching that one at home. I think just when you get a massive game like that, a big Ireland game, big United game, I prefer to actually watch it at home. Just for Now it was up there afterwards. Don't worry.
That's probably what I remember, because Part Celtic, we'd won our league that day, so we were in the, and we had the Sunderland United game, and it was only one screen, and I was there going, we should change this to the City game, because United need to, they have that one, and he wouldn't turn it on until 2-2, and then when the equaliser went in, everyone went, oh, we have to watch the City game, and we literally turned the TV on, and I'd say within 10 seconds Aguero scored. It was incredible. I start to, did the connection go there, Tim? You're very quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed at this, not to rub it in, that the Chelsea and City leagues cost you 7 in a row. Incredible when you think about it, Ferguson, and that's the year he finished.
No, it is, but to add to that, I suppose, I don't think Ferguson stays on for the 12-13 season if they won the year before, because I think, like, obviously after losing and under those circumstances, so close, Fergie is never going to leave at that. Like, he knew that there was one more title in that team, and he went straight in. Van Persie, like, just no messing around here. Like, and they did walk the league then in 12-13, but that was a backlash to what had gone on. And I suppose obviously the Aguero moment's brilliant. It's kind of out of, when you've got Paddy Kenny in net, anything's likely to happen like that. But
there's no lot. I won't have that. I won't have poor Paddy Kenny slated here now by United fan for not being good enough to win the league that year.
Look, if you look at the Dzeko goal, like, it's straight in on top of the keeper, and obviously Joey Barton and everything didn't help that as well. But look, if you look back on that, United actually lost 1-0 to Wigan, and it was a Wednesday game, and even a draw against Wigan away, they were 0-0. Sean Maloney scored in the last kind of 5 minutes, and that was the deciding factor. So a draw away to Wigan would have been good enough, and a lot of fans forget about that looking back. You think it's the Aguero and everything, but if you can't get a draw away to Wigan when the pressure's on, it's only yourself to blame.
I'm thank God for Aguero and Carlo Ancelotti, because you lads would be insufferable if you'd had 7 in a row. I don't know what you would be chanting, to be honest with you. You mentioned Robin Van Persie, who was playing for Arsenal that year in Aguero and helping Arsenal secure top 4 away to West Brom.
Yeah.
So you decided to buy him off us, and I was sitting in Herbert Park in Dunleary, and there were a few rumours going around, and I was like, "There's no way he's leaving." From Arsenal to Manchester United, because whatever it's sending Ronaldo to Real Madrid, you don't sell your Robin Van Persie to Manchester United. And I remember Sky Sports News saying United in talks with Van Persie, and my heart sank. And I'm still not over how he left. And just the way the club and Wenger was so accepting of, let's just hand Manchester United that final title, because, like you said, without him,
it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I think that was a sign from Ferguson that he obviously backlash of what had happened the season before, and he just said, right, I've had enough of Danny Welbeck, I've had enough of Michael Owen, and I want a proven Premier League goal scorer, and whatever it costs, that's fine, because this is the missing piece here. And obviously it was a lot to carry on Rooney, but it worked so well, Rooney playing off Van Persie, and it was just attack, and it worked. And Van Persie, not to rub it in, Golden Boot winner that year, and he was sensational, and that was exactly what was needed at the time. So but going back, I don't think Ferguson stays that year if they won the league the year before. So look, that's what I've said to kind of soften the blow anyway.
It's an incredible achievement. Looking back on those Ferguson years, and it's that last period just before he leaves. So I think that makes the situation you're in now all the worse, I guess, doesn't it?
It does. And if you look back in hindsight, that wasn't a great Arsenal giving Van Persie the guard of honor, as James Moore said there. That was a personal highlight now, I have to say.
Was it? Yeah.
It was. Well, I suppose in fairness, you can't complain, because Mikkel Sylvester, obviously, you got him, and it's been a few others.
Danny Welbeck. You're slating Danny Welbeck. We got him about 3 years later. So
yeah. Well, you're welcome. I never rated him. And Mkhitaryan, obviously, as well.
Well, not to labor on that deal. That's the worst deal. That's the only deal that both parties got ripped off.
Oh, he's hopeless. Yeah. But I suppose, like, to go back on, like that last year, like, if you look at the team, it wasn't great. You had kind of Raphael and Fabio. You had kind of Johnny Evans. De Gea, very early in his career, was actually Lindegaard was in goal, and Tom Cleverley, Danny Welbeck. Like, nothing like an aging Wayne Rooney. Like, to win the league with that was brilliant, but papering over the cracks a little bit, and hence, like, what followed then the year after was the downfall. Like, even Vidic, Ferdinand were aging at that stage. So there was a massive shake-up needed, and maybe the foundation work wasn't put in then. It was kind of filling the gaps, but like you say, that was 8 years ago now. God, I can't believe how quickly the years just wrap in like that,
And on a broader point, United and say comparing that era, so say when you were 18 compared to now when you're 26, 27,
Yeah.
did you build your whole weekend around United then, and do you still do that now? Or where is United in your life right now in terms of importance, or do you go out of your way to make sure you're free on that 5:30 kickoff on a Saturday?
Yeah, like I'll always watch them. Unfortunately, the odd Europa group stage match, especially when you're losing away in Turkey, can't even remember the teams, Transfers or whatever. Like I'm happy to give that one the odd miss, but no, I would always watch them. And yeah, like obviously not the same, but I think that might be an age thing as well. Like when you're younger and you're all getting into it, and it's a massive deal. I think as you get older and obviously you're working full time and everything, maybe not the same hype, but again that could be very well corresponded with the fact that no league title in 8 years, no Champions League since '08. So like if I was a Liverpool fan, I would certainly be kind of tuning in and building it up. But yeah, it's not getting the same hype or attention, but still not missing it. And I never will. But I did actually take a small break. It was April 2019, lost 4-0 to Everton. And that was the first time it's just switched it off. And I think I missed the rest of the season, which was accompanied by, it was 4-0 away to Everton, 1-1 at Huddersfield, and then lost to Cardiff 2-0. So, that was taking the piss for me now.
That's amazing that you just had a complete. When the match was on, were you watching it? Or sorry, you obviously weren't watching. Were you keeping up to date with it, or just?
I was having a quick glance, and then I was keeping myself as busy as possible during those couple of weeks.
Because my Arsenal journey is not too dissimilar. Like I would have supported. Obviously, you took over your life as a kid. You grow out of that a bit more, and now I think I'm as addicted as ever to them all of a sudden. But it doesn't shape my week. But in that 90 minutes, I'm as pissed off as I've ever been. Do you know what I mean?
And do you think COVID has played an impact on that? With obviously, restrictions and not being able to kind of plan a normal weekend, if you like. That it's been the only thing on. Is that kind of rejuvenated your interest in it?
Yeah, definitely. Like, because when it came back, I was so excited. Arteta, this Arteta 7, I'm completely sold on him, unfortunately. It's very hard to get out of that. When you think a manager is a disciple of Guardiola, it's very hard to get out of that mindset, no matter what he does.
Yeah, it is.
The walls are closing in there. So, I just shocked when we don't. Like, when we won the FA Cup, was the last summer, I did think that we were honestly going to win the league the following year. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy what it's
not what it does to you. Yeah, exactly. And I thought the same. Look, Memphis Depay came in, and a few others that season, Mkhitaryan, Rojo, and it does. I think every summer you kind of this will be the one. You have that kind of attitude going in that this year it's going to be different and magically change. But unfortunately, as cruel as it is, by November that's well out the window.
Yeah, and are you happy? Happy you are a United fan overall? Since is this something that you're proud of? Like
some of them, like I've friends, supporting City since 2012, and I've got a couple of Chelsea friends since 2007, 6, whatever. But like you can't go back. I think it's like your GAA club. It's like your parish, whatever. Like it is that kind of tradition that once you're committed to it, like there's no going back. I'm sure James Mode would share that, the listener commenting in there. He obviously wishes he could have a time machine. Yeah, but like it's one of them. I am overall, the club's obviously brought a lot of success and joy, but like that, it's like a soap. It's ups and downs. So.
We'll do a quick fire here, Tim.
Sure.
Just a few questions, and feel free to share any stories. Actually, for one thing I did want to ask, have you been? How many times have you been to Old Trafford? Have you managed to make it over there?
I have, yeah. Last game was the away end for the 1-0 away to Tottenham. Rashford scored. Yeah, that was a good day. I would
say, away end like, because I've never been to an away end.
Yes, like no prawn sandwich brigades anyway. Like I find a lot of the home games, like you'd be sitting there and you are looking, the person beside you is kind of gone for half the match. They come back with their drinks and their burgers, and they're looking on their phone, or you know what I mean. They're not interested. And then the minute they go United go 1-0 down, they're up and trying to beat the queue to get the train home. So when you're in an away end, like it is different. Like you know, it's kind of you know, a lot of proper fans, as you like you know, no plastic ones around. So it's a lot more genuine. But yeah, no, it's a great day out. I definitely recommend it. Say about 7 or 8 off the top of my head. But yeah, looking forward to getting back now next season, hopefully.
What was the best game you attended then, out of all them?
That one, the 1-0 away, just the away end. Rashford getting the winner in front of us there, and you know they were battering us for the whole game, Tottenham. So De Gea was man of the match actually, and yeah, it's one of them where you just sneak away and just the crack afterwards and everything like that. And on the other end, the worst was December 2015. Lost 2-1 at home to Norwich, went 2-0 down, and Martial scored to make it 2-1. But that was Van Gaal days. That was one of the lowest of the lows there. And I remember chanting for Mourinho after the match. And you know, hindsight's a great thing, but
it sounds foresight as well.
Yeah, I think actually, like, you had Tyler Blackett was playing and Borthwick Jackson and a few of them that day. So yeah, like, you know, that was the lowest of the lows in my opinion.
Yeah. So who's your favorite player of all time?
Roy Keane.
Roy over Ronaldo. I had Ronaldo just ahead of Roy for you, but you've gone the opposite.
Yeah, I've just gone a bit more old school on that one. So obviously the first jersey had Keane 16 on the back. You know, obviously the Irish connection as well, watching it for the national team. Just someone that I would have looked up to a lot being younger, and probably, yeah, just edging Ronaldo there on the nostalgic basis. But yeah, like, you know, you have to love him, you know, says it as it is, real leader, dragged the team through a lot, you know, not afraid to kind of rinse players out of it. The likes of your David Mays and all them, like, you know, would have had no problems getting through to them. So yeah, it'd be Keane for me, followed by Ronaldo, followed by Beckham.
Beckham gets third. You've mentioned him a couple of times.
Yeah, he does. I think he's really underrated as a footballer because of the person that he is now and the celebrity hype around him and everything. And he's done brilliantly to market himself so well. But I think he's a little bit before our time, maybe. But like, he's very underrated as a footballer. Like, he really was excellent. Like, to be starting at 17 for Man United, Alex Ferguson had him in a starting 11. He came in for Kanchelskis originally when he was injured and never looked back, and Kanchelskis was gone the next season and took a leap of faith in him, and yeah, there you go. But I do think his mindset changed a little bit maybe around the time he was going. You know, he obviously had other priorities and focuses, but yeah, can't forget how good he was when he was on his day.
We'll be asking everyone their favorite manager, so this is a kind of bit of a stupid question. So
yeah,
post Alex Ferguson, who's been, if you had to have one of them, who have we had? We've had Moyes, Van Gaal, Jose, and
Oli. Yeah, you're not giving me much to work with here.
You didn't think you'd be asked this question, in fairness.
No. Exactly. It's like, you know, it's a tough one to choose from. It's basically like giving me Jones, Blackett, Borthwick Jackson, and Mkhitaryan and Sanchez. I'd go with Oli. Like, he's done the best job with his resources, but yeah, Oli, yeah.
Sign of you're bigger man now, Tim. You put your differences aside and answer that.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to say Moyes.
The best signing
ever for Man United.
Yeah, let's say, like, in your memory, like, say, like, I'm thinking of a Berbatov that you can remember it happening.
Okay,
something like that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to go with Eric Cantona, but, like, you know, that was before I was born. But, you know, Cantona from Leeds was a transformation there, but I'm not going to claim to, you know, recall that one. So I think Rio Ferdinand was a very good signing. I think he came in, he was young, came in 2002, left in 2014, great longevity. Played, bar the drugs ban, barely missed a game. Yeah, like, world-class centre half, really, you know, solid, very quick. So I'll probably go with Ferdinand. The obvious one is Ronaldo there to be picked up as a kid, but he did leave in his prime. So on a Premier League basis, I'd probably go Ferdinand.
Yeah, worst signing.
Oh, now.
Where do you start here? The list as long as your arm.
I know. If I had to pick one, Bebe.
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 I remember him signing. I knew that I was going to shut up about him.
I know, but yeah, it can't get worse than Bebe for the price tag. Memphis Depay was woeful,
which is frustrating because he's turned into a good player now.
I know. Well, this is the thing. Like, they come in and once they go, they're great. But the worst signing. At least Phil Jones gives a couple of good seasons and he's trying and whatever. But I'm going to go with Mkhitaryan. I think Mkhitaryan was the worst.
If you can win the Premier League or Champions League next, say in the next 3 seasons, I say you're going to win one trophy in the Premier League or the Champions League. What are you going for?
I go with the Premier League there because it's the main one that it's associated with the club and puts us back ahead of Liverpool for bragging rights. Champions League, although it's brilliant, you can somewhat get like a bit of a lucky draw and like it can work in favor where like PSG are drawn against City, one of them has to go out, or Munich get whoever, so it can open up and you can get a win on penalties, whatever. But if you're winning the Premier League, you're the best team in the league that year, over 38 games, home and away, running from August to May. Like Premier League would be more consistent, and obviously bragging rights puts us ahead of Liverpool again, which would be, great. So, yeah.
Your favorite jersey?
Let me think now. I actually like the new one this year, but yeah. Did like the 06-07 one actually. Kind of had the white crest there. And
I like this one here in the
Vodafone sponsor. Actually, you can't beat the Vodafone sponsor. Was a classic. The blue away jersey was lovely. And the worst one, I would say, obviously the infamous grey jerseys. That's 45 minutes at Southampton that day. And I also think the really old school, the yellow and green away strip. It's horrible as well. You can recall that.
What's your favorite moment of supporting United? If you had one game to go back on, do you know what I mean? What's the one thing that sticks out?
I think be an odd one, but like the Roma 7-2 in 2007. That was just,
I remember it, yeah.
What a match! Like it was one of them where everything went right, and you had such a wide range of players scoring, like Alan Smith, Michael Carrick, Rooney contributed, like the Giuseppe Rossi. Like it was just, it was a real team performance. Nothing went wrong, and it was one of them. It was just unbelievable. And then followed closely by the Barcelona 1-0 Paul Scholes winner. That was up there as well. In a way.
2008 semi-final, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we never had to talk about that Wembley game. Actually, that was incredible. 3-1, wasn't it, Barcelona?
Yeah, that was like they played off the park again. Like came back at 1-1 there, and he had Park Ji-sung man marking Messi for that, and unfortunately, I think his legs were just going there at the end, which is no shame or whatever. But yeah, like he had Darren Fletcher on as well, but like can't complain. David Villa got an unreal goal, and Messi was class. Xavi, Busquets, Iniesta, like no complaints on that front.
Yeah. And then last question, is there any stories you'd like to share of supporting United, or anything you haven't quite said yet, or any rants or anything? Feel free, this is your time.
Okay. No, I kind of covered a lot there. Like, I mean, just going forward, like to see, more efficiency with the spending, like stick to an identity. If you don't back out now and go for 32-year-old has-beens on big wages that aren't going to come in and do a job. And try and just reestablish that United identity there, and try and blend in the younger players, giving them a chance, because otherwise what's the point in having an academy? Like you've seen Greenwood's really come through, Rashford's come through well. Like you have to make a call on the likes of these Brandon Williams players. Like don't just have them on the fringes, either back them or get rid of them, because like if you go back, like that David Beckham story I was saying there, like came in, he backed him. He said, "Look, you're the winger, and I'm going to back you." And you need to be more decisive, and also on the Ferguson one to go over again, make a decision on that. You have to put status aside and
it's like the ex-girlfriend, isn't it? You're
it is like the it just keeps rearing its ugly old head every now and again, and one that you can't quite shake off. So yeah, it's like, you know, it's just being decisive on that front, and look, it'll be interesting watching. I've given us a bit of a hope this year, but the signings need to be right. The Deadwood needs to go, the Phil Jones, and, you know, etc. Have to make a call on them now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, Tim, you've been brilliant. Great going down memory lane, and I'm delighted as an Arsenal fan. You didn't do that 7 in a row in Premier League titles, but you've had some amount of memories to pair. You've had enough success for a whole lifetime, in my opinion. So I've no sympathy for you.
Started too early. That's the problem. Didn't appreciate what I had till it was gone.
How do you know they're the good times if no one tells you they're the good times until they're over? You know what I mean?
This could go back to the ex situation as well. Yeah.
And on that bombshell, we'll leave it. Tim, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. All the best.
No worries. And listen, catch us on social media at Tackling Sport, and do subscribe to us on the YouTube channel, and we'll be continuing this series throughout the summer and maybe throughout next season as well. But